Hello all. Wonderful morning to all the participants who have joined the webinar today. My name is Ruben Karthik and I'm associated with ManageEngine for the past 6 years, and I do the training and implementation for the endpoint management solutions. So this is our training schedule. It is a 3-week series. We have made it in a way where the first week it was all about how you can onboard the devices and how we can configure certain security policies. And today, the second week of the training program, it will be more about the app management and device security provisioning. And next week, it will be about the model management aspect of Windows 10 and Mac computers under MDM module. And if you like to revisit the training program, you can always visit the below mentioned URL where you could find the recorded training videos and the question and answers discussed during the training program. And moreover, all the registered participants will also get that recorded training video once after the webinar is over. All right, let me show you the training agenda, what I have in the store for today. First, I'm going to give you a quick overview of Mobile Device Manager Plus solution. That's a quick introduction about it, and the architecture and codes required to manage a device, and how exactly a mobile phone will be managed within our solution. So this is what I'm going to cover first. Followed by, I'll show you how you can install, uninstall, and update the applications. Even if you have your own in-house application, how you could deploy them, and even if there is an update available, how we could test and deploy such updates to your in-house application will also be covered in the agenda today. Followed by, I'll also demonstrate how we can block certain applications and web content from accessing from the devices, and how we can lock your devices to a specific application, and how effectively you can remotely connect to a mobile device and troubleshoot if there is any issues on the field technician device, and how we can schedule the benefits of scheduling and always update, and how you can lock a device to a particular geographical location is what I have the scenarios today. And then how we can secure if a device gets lost or stolen, how we can save the corporate information available on the devices is also one of the scenario I'm going to cover. And at the end of the training, I will also share certain use cases and scenarios which I have faced in my support experience and the best solutions to approach such problem. Meanwhile, if you, the viewers, have any question for me, you can always post it in the chat section. We have an expert panel who would be answering your questions then and there. All right, let's go get into the MDM. All right, and so these are the list of operating systems which is supported in our MDM solution. So for Apple devices, it will be iPhone, iPad, or MacBook, and even Apple TVs will be managed within our solution. And for Android, it will be Android device and tablet, and even we start supporting Android TVs now. And for Windows, it will be Windows Phone, Windows Tablet, Windows Laptop, and Surface App, and Chromebooks. So these are the list of operating systems and the device type which you could manage using our MDM. And the Mobile Device Manager Plus module, or the MDM module itself, is available as an integrated add-on with the unified endpoint management product called Desktop Central, which has the traditional computer management features like patching, imaging, and along with that, you'll also be able to manage your mobile devices and even do some modern management actions on Windows laptops and MacBook. And in case if you're looking for a standalone solution just to manage mobile devices, then we also offer the ManageEngine Mobile Device Manager Plus, which is available on both on-premise and cloud. And if you wish to manage devices from different organizations, like say if you're a service provider and you wish to manage devices from different companies, then we also support the Mobile Device Manager Plus MSP architecture, which is available on both on-prem and cloud. And also, we understand it will be better for an admin to integrate with as many applications as possible in order to do the administration task easy. That is why we support integration of help desk solution like ManageEngine Service Desk Plus, which is our own solution, which is our own ticketing software, which you could integrate with ManageEngine MDM. Likewise, you'll also be able to integrate with other help desk solutions like Spicework, Jira Service Desk, Zendesk Support, and ServiceNow. And also ManageEngine MDM is also possible to integrate with our own client relationship management software called Zoho CRM. Likewise, you can also integrate with Zoho's Creator, which is a web development software. And moreover, if you're looking to integrate with any of the solution outside this box, you also have a publicly available API using which you can perform a seamless integration. Well, this is the MDM architecture. Be it any solution that will follow a universal architecture. So there are three major components which plays a role in order to manage a mobile device. The MDM server, the notification services, which will always be in contact with the device, and the third component is the end device itself. So these three are the essential components in order to manage a mobile device. And in order to understand the architecture or the workflow better, let's say uh, as an admin, I wish to find out a location of an iPhone. What I'll do, I'll initiate a command from our MDM console like locate device, which in turn will be sent to the notification services. For Apple, the Apple push notification service will play a role to get the commands from the MDM server, which in turn will reach the device using the UDID or the unique number, which in turn will contact the server back to process the command. In this example, if it is geo tracking, the command will be received by the device once after they communicate with MDM server, process them, and it's going to display or send back the coordinates to the MDM server, which as an admin, I'll be able to see it in the map in the console. And for likewise for Android device, Firebase Cloud Messaging Service plays a role, and for Windows devices, it will be WNS, Windows Notification Services. So whenever you initiate any command, that will be sent from MDM server to notification services, which in turn will wake up the device and contact the server to process them. And if in case of you wish to host the solution internally, and here, since the devices will always try to contact the MDM server to process the command, you need to make sure the MDM server is accessible. If you go with on-premise model and you need to expose your MDM server with a public IP address or an FQDN, and in case if you don't wish to expose the internal MDM server, then you can also opt for a secure gateway component, which is again an optional component, which will only be exposed to the internet devices. So whatever command will be sent by notification service, and when the device tries to contact the server, it only reaches a secure gateway, which in turn will reroute the communication. And these are the list of ports used by our MDM solution, 9383 for the devices to communicate with the server, and mobile device manager plus to notification services use 443. Likewise, if you wish to discuss more about your internal setup, how you wish to implement the solution, and if you're looking for a personalized demonstration, we do offer a free demo where you can sit with our senior technician and they will help you to set up the product remotely. And in case if you like to discuss about these implementation part, you can always comment in the chat section and our team can help you with the schedules. And in order to know more about the inbound and outbound port information, you can always visit the below mentioned URL. So as you see, the device, it is all this even MDM follows the client and server model. So you need to have an MDM app or a profile deployed on all the devices in order to manage. And that is what I covered in the last training series where we discussed more about the enrollment process. And if you could wonder, so for an Android device, you need to necessarily have the ManageEngine MDM app to manage them or to process any command on the devices. But when it comes to Apple, Windows, or Chromebooks, you don't need to necessarily deploy an app. We just leverage the native OS client present on these OS platform, and we deploy the MDM profile to manage them. And like I said, the installation of profile or app depends on the type of management scope you're looking for. Like for personal or corporate purpose, you have a separate mode of enrollment, which you can even visit in the last training video. If not, if you wish to have a discussion real time, you can also comment in the chat section to schedule for a free online demo. So now let's get into the topic. And before I discuss about the app installation process, let me quickly take you to the product console and show you what are the tabs available and how does the MDM looks like in our ManageEngine solution. So this is how the console will look like, where under the home section, you could see the list of device tab you manage, like how many smartphones, tablets, and desktop you have. Likewise, the OS device pickup can also be seen here. And for an admin, and if you're following a role-based administration, you can also see which technician or perform what actions on the devices will also be given to you as a real-time live feed. You can also check those details here. And device management is where the administrator will do the real management activities like creating a group, adding applications or profiles, and even to share documents. All the basic management activities will be done from this particular section, which you would understand in a better way when we move on in this particular training series. And inventory is where you could check the basic device details, so how many devices you have and the device information. This might be helpful for an auditing purposes, where you could see the device informations in detail and even pull out these informations in PDF or CSV format. And also you can check the location details about the devices you manage. And enrollment is where you could do the onboarding process. There are a lot of different ways through which you can onboard your devices into the management. For a personal device, you have email invite or self-enrollment where the users can bring their own device. And for corporate purposes, you have separate methods, which is mentioned under the operating systems. And reporting helps you to check certain predefined reports available. At the same time, even if you like to schedule a report, let's say every Monday or Friday evening, I would like to check a particular report like app installation summary report or device contact time. Likewise, you do have an option to schedule the report based on certain time frame. And also you can also choose the report format on which you would like to take this report information, like PDF or CSV. And you can also choose the frequency. You can also schedule every Monday, Fridays likewise, and you'll be able to pull out these reports. And under admin section is where you do the basic administration actions like creating roles and defining the management scope. Like this user might need to manage only Android devices. Likewise, you can create a role and also add a user based on that. Likewise, even if you wish to rebrand your own company logo instead of ManageEngine MDM, you do have an option under admin section. All right. So, and in order to contact support in case of when you're working on the product and you get some doubt or you need some assistance, you do have the live chat feature, which is a 24/5 live chat channels, which you can get in touch with our technicians all the time from Monday to Friday. And in case if you wish to discuss about an issue over the call instead of chatting with the technician, you do have the support toll-free number available here. At the same time, if you'd like to schedule a remote session or create a support ticket, you do have the option under request support. So these are certain support mode through which you can get in touch with our technical team. All right, now let's get into the topic. So I'm going to show you how we can install and manage business applications using our product. And first of all, as an app management workflow, every MDM instance will have their own app repository, and the app application has to be added to the app repository first, be it a Play Store, an App Store application, or the in-house application has to be first added to the app repository section. Once then, you can distribute to the devices. And if it is a store app, the devices will download from the respective store portal and the app will get installed. And if it is an in-house application, the devices will contact the MDM server to download and deploy it on the devices. So first, let me show you how we can deploy a stored application using a product. For that, you can go to device management section. Under device management, you can create groups based on the business purposes. Like say I've created a group for contract employees and for everyone group and for a training department or testing department. This will ensure the administrator to deploy a profile or an application easily. Moreover, instead of selecting a device every now and then, you could create a group based on devices, if not based on users, because that could be a possibility where one user might have 2 to 3 devices under him. So you can also create a group based on user. If not, you can even enable an Active Directory group sync. So whatever groups you have defined under your Active Directory will also be synced to our MDM section. This will help the administrators to distribute profile or application in an easy way. Moreover, when a new user gets added to this department or group, will automatically have all the profiles and applications and document distributed to them. Right. So now let me show you how you can add a Play Store application into our repository and distribute your end devices. For that, you can go to App Repository, Add Application. So these are the list of apps which you can add either for an iOS, Apple App Store, or an Apple Enterprise application likewise. So like I said, first let me demonstrate for the Apple App Store application. you can also choose the appropriate store location. Let's say if you wish to add an application available under United Kingdom, you can search for it. If not, you can live with the United States and search for the required application like this. I'm trying to add our own Zoho Creator application into the app repository and distribute to my end devices. So I'll just search for the app name that will come up. And when I click on select, it automatically update the app details here. And when a device gets deprovisioned or if an MDM profile has been removed from the device, I want to remove this corporate application as well from the devices. So I'll just enable this option so that the app will be automatically removed when the MDM profile is removed from the device. And even if you wish to prevent the users from taking a backup, you can also enable this option, which will restrict the backup from, which will restrict the users from taking a backup on this particular application. And also, if you wish to pre-configure certain other additional details for this application, you can also use an XML file upload and update the details here. So once I've updated these information, just now the app has been saved to the repository, and you would automatically get the quick link here, which shows you that the app has been added. In order to distribute, you can click here, which automatically takes you to this very same page, like groups and devices. And I would recommend you to select a particular device and test them first about the app deployment or policy distribution. Then you can apply to a group. So this would make sure the installation process is smooth on all the production devices. Let's say this is an Apple App Store application, and I'm going to use the filter to just list down the Apple devices I manage. And I'm going to test this particular Zoho Creator application on this device. So here it is. And before I talk about the silent installation method, like first, let me show you how you can distribute an application to the app catalog and let the users define whatever apps they need and how they can install it from the app catalog option available under the ME-MDM app. So I'll just choose this option and I'll click on select. So now this app has been distributed to this particular user, and in order to complete this installation process, the user has to open the ME-MDM app. They will have the option called App Catalog here, and they could see the list of applications being distributed to this user, and they need to click on install, which will prompt them to enter their own Apple iTunes account. As you know, every app installation requires an iTunes account on the devices, and when you distribute through the app catalog, and when the user finds the list of applications being distributed and try to initiate a deployment, it will prompt the users to provide their iTunes account. And after providing the details, the app will be automatically installed on the devices. And using this method, when you distribute the app to the app catalog, it's always the end user has to go and manually install or initiate the deployment of the application. So even if you distribute to a group, and enable this option, distribute to app catalog, the apps will only be listed under the ME-MDM app section, and the user has to go and complete the installation. On this method, every device must be provisioned with an iTunes account, and as we saw, the user intervention is required to complete the app installation. And in order to avoid this, that is where we provide the silent app deployment technique. And there are certain prerequisites which also be covered in the upcoming slide. And there are two ways through which you can automatically deploy the app on the devices. For iOS, it was using the Apple Business Manager, and for Android, it will be using the Manage Google Play service. You'll be able to silently deploy the applications on the end user devices. And like I said about the prerequisite, you need to have an account with ABM or Google. That's a mandatory process, and the devices must be supervised. For an Apple device, if you wish to silently deploy without even a user intervention, then the devices should be supervised. In case for non-supervised devices, the users will get a prompt for the app installation, and if the user sees the prompt and click on OK, then the app will be silently deployed. If not, the end user has to go again to the app catalog and initiate it. And for Android, the devices must be running Android 5 and later versions in order to silently deploy the application on there. And this is the workflow. You need to integrate your MDM instances with Apple Business Manager or Manage Google Play services, through which you can approve or purchase application to the portal and then distribute to the devices. And like I said, the apps will be silently deployed on these devices when you approve or purchase application from ABM or Manage Google Play service. So first, let me show you how you can add it through Apple Business Manager. So in order to integrate your MDM instance with Apple Business Manager portal, you can go to the app repository section under device management. You can click on Apple App Management here. So I have already integrated my MDM instance with ABM portal. In case if any of the audience today haven't integrated their MDM instances, then you would see an option like this where you can integrate your MDM account with Apple Business Manager, or also Apple provides a separate portal called Apple School Manager only for the educational institutions, where they could see the list of apps used by the educational institution. And now let's say on this training, I would like to integrate with Apple Business Manager. So I can just click on configure apps for business. And when I click on Apple Business Manager portal, it automatically takes me to the login section here. In case if you don't have an ABM account, you do have an option where you can create a business account using a corporate Apple ID and integrate your instance with ABM. And it's like a two-way handshake where you need to get a file from our solution and then upload it in the ABM portal, which in turn will generate an S token, and you have to re-upload here. And the S token will be valid for a year, so you need to keep renewing every 365 days. So in order to integrate, as mentioned in the help article itself, you can go to the ABM portal, go to settings section, then apps and books, where you can see the list of server token displayed here. Since when we distribute to the app catalog, the user has to provide their own iTunes account. But when you integrate with ABM portal, it will use the corporate Apple account or ABM account, and then the apps will install using that. So in order to integrate again, you can go to settings section, apps and books. Where you could see the list of servers which you have integrated within our solution. It seems to be a buffering issue on the Apple side. So let it run, and meanwhile, you can just integrate your MDM instance with ABM portal. Once after, let's assume you have uploaded the S token and integrated, you would see an option like this where it lists out what the organization name you've used and how many apps you have synced. And in order to get any application, you can just go to settings section again and go to ABM portal, apps and books section, where you can search for the list of app you wish to add, search for the application. And once you click on the app name, it shows the app details. And you need to make sure any app you try to silently deploy has to have this option enabled, device assignable. So only if this option is marked, only then you can silently deploy the applications on the devices. So you need to ensure that. And once after you select the application, you can choose to which MDM server you would like to transfer or approve these applications to. They can choose the appropriate MDM server. And let's say I'm trying to add a Zoho CRM. So this is available, and also you could see the device assignable section is enabled. And I'm going to choose this to my MDM training server, and Apple demands to enter the number of quantity or the devices to which you're going to deploy these applications to. This might be helpful for licensing too when it comes to a paid software or paid application. You can also make use of that. And so once you click on Get, this app will be added to the appropriate training server. So you can just go ahead and enable a sync, which start to sync the application from the respective ABM portal. So this is how you add an application from the ABM portal. So you integrate from settings section. Once done, you can go to content, apps and books, search for the required applications. So any app, let's say, even if you'd like to use the Zoho meeting application for conferencing, you can search for this app, and So you need to make sure the device assignable is enabled and search for the appropriate MDM server you wish to transfer or approve this application to, and then mention the number of devices for which you're going to distribute this app, and then click on Get. So this is how you approve the app from ABM portal. And once done, you could see the apps added under the app repository section. And in order to distribute, again, you can go to groups and devices section. Remember, I have tested this particular silent app deployment on my Apple devices. So I'm just going to directly select everyone and the required groups for which I want to deploy these applications to. And select these group and click on distribute app. So here I can just enable the silent installation as an option, and now I'll be able to distribute this application silently. And when you add an application from ABM and then distribute the devices, the apps will be silently deployed using the ABM account you have configured on the devices. So here the end user doesn't have to provide their own iTunes account for app deployment. Automatically the ABM account details will be used for the app installation part. Let's assume, and I try to select silent installation method, the app will straight away start to install on these devices. So the user doesn't have to do any prompt on, or doesn't have to go to any MDM app and app catalog to initiate it. Whatever app you approve from ABM portal can be silently deployed on the devices without the user intervention. This is how the app will get deployed. And so this is how you could do it for an Apple App Store application. And Apple recommends you to make sure the devices are connected to a Wi-Fi if the app size exceeds 200 MB. So this is just to make sure the devices are connected to Wi-Fi. In case when the devices are connected through the mobile data, and when you try to deploy an app silently, which is about 200 MB, then the app deployment would fail. So this is just a notification which we would like to give it to the audience today. And now, in order to silently deploy the Android applications on the devices, you need to integrate with Manage Google Play Service. And in case if you haven't integrated, you would see an option like this, where you can either integrate your MDM instance with your G Suite account if you have. If not, you can go with without G Suite option as well. So you can just click without G Suite. And when you click on Configure Now, it automatically takes you to this page where you can click on Get Started, and you can provide your business name or the information related to it, and make sure the ManageEngine EMM is enabled when you check for the enterprise EMM provider option. This is our own DPC token here. And you can also provide the data protection officer or EU representative details here. This is mandatory since the GDPR law has been passed. So the Google support will contact these members from your organization in case if they want to discuss about any security related notifications or agreement. So this is mandatory in order to integrate your MDM instance with Manage Google Play Service. So once after you provide these details, you can just click on Confirm, which makes sure the MDM instance is registered with your Manage Google Play Service. Moving forward, whenever you want to add any application, like you see, I have already integrated my MDM instance with Manage Google Play Service here. And if I wish to add any application, I can click on Add Apps. Right here itself, we'll bring up the Google Play Store UI here. So we have this iframe integration. So whatever app you wish to add for the Android devices, you can search here itself. And once the app is available, you can click on the app name and you could approve this application. All you need to do is just click on approve. So you don't have to provide the device count like how Apple demands, or you need to choose the location server or the MDM server for which you wish to distribute. All you need to do is just click on the app name and approve it, which automatically syncs these applications to the app repository. And once the app is added, you can also do some pre-configurations for the particular application itself. Let's say I'm trying to pre-configure certain app permissions on these devices. I'm using the filters just to list on the place that applications available. Let's say I'm trying to pre-configure certain details on the SohoClick application. So what I'll do, I'll just click on the app name. I'll go to the permission section and I make sure the location services should be always be on when the user uses this particular application. Likewise, the camera should be allowed, and also the contact and phone sync has to be also be enabled on these applications. Likewise, you could add the required application to your repository and then click on the app name to configure certain predefined details on this application. Once done, you can then go to groups and devices, select the appropriate group or device you wish, and then you'll be able to distribute to the devices silently. The same process for Android app distribution too. All you need to do is make sure you select the Android application and you distribute to the devices. Once done, again, this would straight away install on the devices, and the end user doesn't have to go to any MDM app to initiate it. And once after the app gets installed, in case if it is a personal BYOD device which runs on above 5.0 version, still the app will be silently deployed on Android devices. And if it is a personal BYOD device, you could see a separate briefcase icon which depicts this as a work app, and also based on the OS, you could see a separate work profile even created on the devices. Moreover, when the user click on the app name, you could also see the app permissions. If the user tries to disable location services, they'll not be able to do, since an admin, you have pre-configured the app permissions from our app repository section itself. So this is how you can add the required application to our app repository and distribute to the devices. So let me quickly give you a recap on this. For silent app deployment, you need to integrate with Apple App Management and manage Google Play services. We'll talk about Windows Business Store in the next training about the modern management. But today, in order to silently deploy application for Apple or Android devices, you need to integrate with these services. And only then the app will be silently deployed. In case, if you wish to deploy the application or distribute the application to the users and let them decide whatever apps they need from the app catalog, like a self-service portal option, then when you distribute, you can choose the option called distribute it to app catalog, so that the users can go and select whatever apps they need and they'll be able to deploy it on the user end. So in case if you have any questions related to this, please feel free to post them in the chat and our team can help you. And now I've shown you about the app installation part, and when there is an update available, how will our solution be able to handle it? That's why we have this option called automate app updates. If you enable this checkbox and save the settings, whenever there's a new version available on the devices, the app will be automatically updated on the devices. And in case if you, the administrator, would like to take control on the app upgrade process, then you can go to app repository section, and you will find the option like there are 6 app updates available. So you can click on the app update section like this, and you can select the appropriate application you wish to update. Let's assume you can click on this app name, and if you wish to manually update and see for particular devices, you can just manually click on update now, which will only update the Chrome application on this device alone. In case if you wish to update for all the devices, you can click on update all. So either you can enable automate app update section. If not, an admin has to manually go and click on the app name in order to initiate the app updates. And now let me show you how we can manage your own in-house application. And is it mandatory to have an ABM or a managed Google Play Service account for installing enterprise app? No. And also you could test the application before you deploy it to your devices. Even if it is an in-house application, you can test and then deploy them. Let me quickly show you how you could do that. And for this, as a prerequisite, you need to make sure the iOS devices are supervised. So only for corporate devices which are added through ABM or Apple configurator, like supervised devices can only be deployed for enterprise or in-house application. Likewise, for Android, the device should either be Samsung, if not provisioned as a device owner. All right, let me show you how you can add your own in-house application and deploy it to your devices. For that, you can go to app repository again. You can choose either for If you have an Apple enterprise app like IPA file, you can upload them here. In case if you have an APK file, you can just go to Android app, Android enterprise application section, and then choose the appropriate file you wish to deploy. So once you select the APK file, it automatically reads the app information. So it displays the app details, the bundle identifier information likewise, and then you might pre-configure certain other additional details as well for the app and then deploy to your devices. So if you have your own in-house application, all you need is just drag and drop or search for the application or the APK file, which automatically pulls down these information to your app repository. And if you wish to configure certain other dynamic variables or additional configuration to this very same application, you can also do it using this particular configuration section. Let's assume I've already pre-configured all the details in the APK file itself. I have added this application to my repository. It's been added here. And now in order to distribute, I can click on, which takes me to the groups and devices section. And I'm going to test this APK again with few devices first. So I'll just choose the OS filter for Android. And you can either manually select the individual test devices. If not, you can also create a test group. So I do have a test group. I'll just select this and deploy this APK or the in-house application. So this will list out only the enterprise app which I've added. So I can just select and silently deploy it to my test group. So make sure once the app is tested and the app seems to be working fine, then I'll go to the production environment. I'll select all the groups and distribute it. Like I said in the beginning, when a new member gets added to these group, let's assume I'm selected to everyone BYOD and training department. And whenever a new user gets added to these groups, then the app will automatically be deployed to this newly added member as well. That's an advantage. And so it is very simple for adding the in-house application and deploying to the devices. Now, let's say there is an update available, like after 1 or 2 months, there has been certain changes and new enhancement been updated on this application. So I need to update that to all my devices now. For that, you can just search for the app under app repository section. Click on the app name. And you have this option called upload new version. So if there is any latest update available for the same in-house application, you can upload it. Let's say I'm trying to upload this particular APK file. So once after I browse and select this APK, it will again start to validate. And now whatever APK or whatever update I'm trying to add will act like a beta version. As you can see, it says there is an older version available for this application already. It verifies the bundle identifier and shows that the one which you are trying to upload now will only be added as a beta version. Would you like to go and do it? Yes. So now the version 2.0, which I'm trying to deploy or which I'm trying to update on the devices, will act like a beta version. And in order to distribute and test them, I'll just go to the distribution details, click on distribute this app update. So it will show install app update automatically, or just go or distribute the app catalog section. If the user needs them, then they can go and manually update it. But since this is for a testing purpose, I'll choose install app update automatically. I'll select the test group and try update in this application on installed devices. And during the testing, let's assume I found out an issue. This app seems to be corrected. Then I'll just go and replace this beta version. Since 2.0 seems to be causing some issue, I'll prepare a new APK either with 2.11 or 3.0 and then upload this version here. So this is how you could test your own app updates on few devices and see whether the app update's working fine. And now it will say that this will replace the existing beta version, right? The version 1.0 was successfully installed on all the devices, and that is working fine. Only when I try to update them, there seems to be some issues. I'm trying to replace the beta version unless and until I make sure the latest update works fine on all the devices. Let's assume I'm again distributing to few devices and it seems to be working fine. The version 3.0 seems to be working as per the requirement. Then I'll just go and mark this app update as stable. So when I click on mark as stable, then I'll get an option whether to update this app automatically on all the devices or distribute the app catalog whenever the user feels to update the app, then they can go to MEMDM app catalog. Even I will notify them about this, and they can go and update it as per their own time. Likewise, you can mark the required app update as stable, which automatically updates on the devices. So this is how you can add your own application to the repository, test them, and then deploy to your own devices. So in case if you have any questions related to Apple App Store deployment or in-house deployment, in-house application deployment, please feel free to post them in the chat and our team can help you. Now, I'll take you to certain use cases, how you can prevent your users from installing any other malicious application on the devices. So that's why we have profiles where you could restrict certain device settings on the on it. So you can go to profile section here. You can create a profile for iOS or Android based on the business need. And in order to restrict users from installing any application, you can go to the restriction tab. You have a separate option called application. So here you could see the device functionality level restriction, like how we can prevent the users from taking screenshots and likewise, which was discussed on the first training series. And now on this particular use case, if you wish to prevent the users from installing any unauthorized application, then you could just go ahead and enable this restriction option here. So this will restrict the unapproved application on the devices. And moreover, if the user have installed any other application before, even that will get disabled if you enable this restriction option, meaning whatever application you distribute through our MDM will only be working on the device end. So rest of other apps will be disabled for the user. And moreover, this will only disable, but if you wish to remove the unauthorized applications on the devices, then you could go to inventory, where you can block certain applications. So inventory, like I said, this gives you the device information. This reports about the device details, the free space available on the phone, and the UDID information. Likewise, this inventory gives you a lot of more information on the devices. It also captures what are the applications deployed or installed on this device end. So in order to block any application, you can go to inventory, app section, where it shows what are the application installed in your device. If you wish to see device-wise split up, you do have the option here, that you can click on devices tab and shows device name, email address, and how many apps has been deployed on these devices. And in order to uninstall or block certain application, you can search for the required application here and you can block it. Either you can block to all the devices or only to specific device. And you can also choose what should happen when you move an application to block section. So either to automatically uninstall or notify the users and then uninstall, or just notify them. So using these options, you can prevent the unauthorized applications on the managed devices. One, using the restriction profile. I'll even show you for an Apple device. Like you could use this quick options here, which automatically takes you to these options like distributing application or creating a profile. So one way is to create a profile and apply the app installation restriction, which will prevent the users from installing any application from the Apple App Store or Play Store. You can go to application section. You can restrict this option here. So this is for Apple devices too. And in case if the app has already been installed and if you wish to prevent them, since an admin, you could see what are the apps been deployed, and if you want to take action and prevent certain unauthorized applications on the managed devices, you can also block them from the inventory app section. And next use case, all right, next use case, how you can even prevent the users from accessing certain malicious website on these devices. So that, again, you have a restriction profile. And in order to restrict the web access, you could go to web content filter. There is a separate payload available here. You can go to profile section, create an Android or an Apple profile, and you have this web content filtering, where you can allow or block certain websites. So if you go with allow list, whatever website web links you provide here, only that will be accessible by the end user's device. Whereas when you go with block listing, the website, whatever you wish to prevent the users from accessing, will only be restricted. So this is one payload option which I wish to share on this webinar today. Even if you want to prevent the users from accessing certain websites, you do have an option under profile management section here. All right. And how can you whitelist specific applications on the devices? This is again a common use case which most of the audience or the customers would approach our MDM support on this. So we have this app lock mode because clients would also have certain point of sale devices where they wish to lock their phones with only certain application, like say even for a delivery technicians or a retail shops where they hand over the devices to the employees and lock their phones with only certain applications to use. So for that, you can go to kiosk mode, where you could lock your devices with a single app or a multi-app kiosk mode. So when you go with single app, whenever the users unlock the phone, automatically the app, whatever you configure here, will get launched. Let's say this is for educational institutions or for primary schools where you're going to hand over the devices to the students. And if you wish to lock their phones with only certain application, then you can create a kiosk profile and deploy it to the devices. And when you go with multi-app kiosk mode, so whatever app you configure, only those applications can be used by the end users. And you can also choose our own MDM launcher, which helps you to provide certain other permissions, like say the end users can access status bar or control the volume level, and even use the power button or back button. So that will help even the end users to perform certain troubleshooting process in case if the device gets stuck and they wish to click on back button to move from one app to another app. So you do have these options which you can enable on the kiosk profile. So you could create a profile based on the business need you have and lock the devices with these applications alone. All you need to do is just add the application to the repository first. Once the app is added, you can select them under the kiosk profile. And also you can make sure you enable this option in case if you wish to lock the devices with any of the above application, and if it is not installed on the managed devices, it automatically install and then lock the devices with these app alone. On the end user end, if you lock the devices with a single app, as I said, when the user unlocks the phone, automatically the appropriate app will get launched. Here in this example, if the device was locked with Google Gmail app or Google app, where you could also only find out this automatically launched. And likewise, if you lock the devices with multi-app kiosk mode, you could see when the user unlocks the device, all they will have access is to only these applications. All right. Now let me show you how we can troubleshoot a device as a remote user. Say if there is an issue on the corporate device and the device is outside the organization, since we are all adapting to this remote work from home scenarios now, and if there is an issue with the corporate device and the user is at their home, and how effectively you can take control and troubleshoot. And that is why we provide or we started supporting the remote control option under our MDM. So you could go to management section, we have this remote control option. And this is how the desktop central console looks like, as I said in the beginning. So MDM is available on 3 flavors, like with desktop central, standalone MDM, and then MSP. The desktop central console will look like this, and where you could do some patching, software installation, and traditional computer management activities. Along with that, you'll also be able to manage your mobile devices and smartphone. So you have the remote control option under the management tab, and you can initiate remote control. And remote control feature is supported only on Samsung, Lenovo, and Sony of other couple of Android devices, where you could actually take control and perform certain commands on the devices. Whereas for Apple and other Android devices, you can only remotely view, will not be able to remotely control, like say, open the application, type anything like this, will not be able to perform certain control actions when you go with the other Android devices. So while the session gets initiated, let me quickly show you what are the devices that support the remote control feature. So the remote control is supported only on Samsung, Lenovo, and these are the OEMs which support remote control, and other devices support only remote view. The manufacturer has to support this client, so only then we'll be able to remotely control. If not, just remote view would work. So as you could see, I'm just taking a remote session on my test device, and this is how the ME-MDM app looks like on the Android device. And when you open the ME-MDM app, you could see the list of applications you've distributed. And in case of if you distribute an app and let the end users decide whatever application they want, then they can go to ME-MDM app catalog section, and then initiate it. And likewise, even you can securely share documents, which can be viewed only within this particular application. So this is how we could take remote view of the user, and now we can help the end users to, in case if they face any technical issues, as an admin, you'll be able to easily assist them by taking a remote view or remote control on the devices. And if you wish to see how exactly the kiosk profile would lock the devices with, so let me apply the kiosk profile right away on my test device and show it to you. I'll go to the devices section, select my device, and I'll click on associate profile. So as you could see, the profile got applied right away, and this is how the app lock mode will look like. So whatever app I've added on the kiosk profile will only be used by the end users. They'll not be able to use any other applications out of it. And in order to dissociate the profile, I can just click on the device name. We go to the profile section. I'll just dissociate the kiosk profile here. And so this is the normal mode. And when you apply the app lock mode, it gets locked only with the application the administrator defined it to use. So that's how we could remotely take session on the end user's devices, and you'll be able to assist them technically. And also how, let's go to the next use case, how we can restrict the devices from leaving a certain area. So we do have this geofencing feature that you could lock the devices to a particular geographical location. First of all, for that, you need to create a geofence repository. So let's say you have these options to create a geofence from 150 meters to 500 kilometers. Let's say I'm trying to create a geofence for 100 kilometers under Los Angeles. So first, like I said, you need to create a geofence or a fence repository just to make sure the devices doesn't leave this area. So you can choose where you wish to lock the devices to. So you can select the appropriate radius here. Once after you create a geolocation fence repository, then you can apply the policies to them. So meaning whenever the user moves outside this geolocation, I can choose. So if a user steps outside the geolocation which I've just marked or created, immediately I would like to get notified about it. I can choose my email address here and I would get notification about that. And also immediately I want to lock my device. So if any user steps outside the geofence or the fence location I've created, for example, if any user tries to leave the fence immediately, so if any user tries to move outside the location, immediately you get, you can also generate an alarm on the devices and lock the devices. So you have this lost mode, which can be enabled if a device moves outside the geolocation immediately, and which I will even discuss in the next use case. So lost mode, it completely locks the device and no other option will be enabled to the user. So all they can do is just click on call, and you can specify to which number the call has to land, and also you can even customize the message. Like this, you can choose whatever message you want to display, and even provide the administrator's email address, and even enable this option. So whenever the user steps outside the fence, it generates an alarm and locks the devices. Moreover, if the user doesn't come back within a day, you can also enable a remote wipe, which completely wipes the device information too. So this is how you can create a fence first and then apply it to the devices. So you create a policy, and if you want to apply this policy only to a specific group, then you can go to associate and choose only, say my sales department keep traveling, so I want to make sure they travel only to a certain area. Or likewise, you can create a fence and apply even to the contract employees or drivers likewise. So you create a fence repository, create a rule to them, and then associate the groups or devices. So this is how you can lock your devices to a particular location. And then automating the OS update, the necessity of updating the OS and why you need to choose. So if first, let me show you the disadvantages here. So when the OS is not updated on the device as if it is running on a lesser version, as you even know, the older versions tend to get slower with time. And even sometimes if you're using the in-house application, the developer might have developed an application related to certain OS version that will get mismatched if the devices are running behind. So you need to make sure you have an automatic OS update policy. And it's just a one-time setup where you can define an upgrade policy, either to immediately update the devices or delay perform certain time frame, or even to notify the users about it. Let me show you how easily you can create an OS update policy using our MDM solution. For that, you can go to automate OS update section. You can create an update policy here. So like say for Android, whenever there is a new version available, I want to automatically update the devices. If not, I wish to delay it for 3 days. So once after Google releases an update or Samsung releases an update, I wish to make sure they don't update it on any of my devices for 3 days. Then it should happen from Monday to Friday alone on specific time frame. So as an admin, you'll be able to choose the preferred week of the month, days of the week, and also the timing to update the devices. And moreover, even if you wish to notify the users about it and allow the users to skip the upgrade again. So first 3 days, it will be delayed by the organization policy itself. Then for a week, I want the users to update whenever they want. If not, they can skip it for 7 days. Then after, the devices will be automatically updated with the latest OS. That's how you create a policy based on the business need you have, and then distribute these policies to the devices you manage. So this will make sure only for 10 days the device might run in an outdated version. Then after, it will be automatically updated to the latest version, as per the example I've showed here. And so how we could secure a device when it's lost or stolen. So I'll quickly show you the options available in our product as well. So you can go to the inventory section where you could see the device details and do some on-demand action. So I'll just click on the device name. I will see the basic information about the devices and the device details in depth, like even network information can be seen, and the apps installed likewise. So when a device gets lost, first I'll try to enable the location. So I'll just click on locate device, and remember the architecture. So whenever you initiate any command, either for a locate device or an app installation, this will be sent to the notification services, which in turn will contact the server and initiate it. So now the command has been successfully completed, and I could see the current device locations here. And moreover, we do support location history. So whenever a user moves 200 meters or a 500-meter movement, you could track down the location information as well. But anyway, so if a device gets lost, you could enable this locate track, which gives you the location of the devices, and also you can enable this mode, which completely locks the device. So only option the users can do is click on call when you enable this mode. And you can also configure a new passcode. Let's say if the user have configured like an easy passcode like 123 or likewise, you can even lock the device with providing a complex passcode like this, which will be sent to the user's email address. And once you get back the device, and if the user wants to unlock the phone, he has to provide this very same passcode, which has been sent to the email. So that's how you lock the device, and this is how the end user screen will even look like when you apply this mode. No other options will be available or will be enabled for the user when you lock the phone. They cannot swipe the notification bar, they cannot put this device into airplane mode, or they cannot turn it off. Likewise, no action will be performed. The device will be completely locked when you enable this mode. And this makes sure the device is locked and the users will not be able, or the whoever has the device will not be able to unlock and take the corporate information. But still, if you wish to remove the corporate documents and files available on the devices, you can either do a corporate wipe or a complete wipe. So complete wipe will do a factory reset that deletes everything on the device, whereas corporate wipe will only remove whatever policies and document or files you shared through our solution will be wiped. So this is how you can lock the phone when it is lost or stolen, and also remotely wipe the information from the devices. All right, so we've come to the end of the training. I'll just quickly share you the real-time scenarios which I faced from the support experience. The first scenario I've taken is how we can prevent the users from uninstalling any corporate application. So I've shown you the use case, how we can prevent the users from installing any unauthorized application. In the same place, under device management profiles, you do have an uninstallation restriction option through which the users will not be able to uninstall any application you distribute. So if you go to restriction tab, application section, here you have the options where you can restrict the uninstallation of apps too. So one, for the installation of unauthorized app, same time, even whatever app being distributed through the MDM can also not be removed by the users. And second scenario, a user has reset the device and left the organization. Upon reactivating, we are prompted to enter the user's credential, and can MDM help us? Yes, this is the common behavior with the latest Android phones now. They have this endpoint factory reset protection predefined on the devices. So even if the end user leaves the organization, Google will still prompt the previous user's email address to activate the phone. For that, you have this EFRP profile where you can provide the corporate email account and account details here. You do have the information to obtain the account ID from this particular page, through which you can deploy this profile to all the devices. You can even add multiple email address here through which you can unlock the phone. So once after you configure these details and distribute to the devices, if the end user leaves or when the device gets factory reset, in order to activate again, you can use the appropriate email address you have specified. So be it any profile or payload you wish to apply to your devices, either restriction or EFRP, you can always find the help article at the right-hand side, which describes about that particular payload. So enterprise factory reset protection. Likewise, if you want to know about the restrictions and the supported operating system, you can also click on restriction profile and know about it. So this might even help our clients to know about the profiles and details. You can just click on help article available at the end of each payload. And third scenario, how can you prevent the users from turning off the location? Again, this might be achieved from the restriction tab. So you can go to the restriction location settings and choose always on. So this will make sure the devices are always being tracked by the employees. So likewise, you'll be able to apply any of the restriction profiles or any of the payloads to the devices, and you'll be able to manage. So I'll just give you a quick recap. So, device management is where you do the basic management activities like adding application, creating profile based on the business need, and sharing documents via content management likewise. And also you can remotely connect your devices. And in case if you have any other questions, please feel free to post them in the chat and our team can help you. And also if you like to have a free online demonstration, you can sit with one of our technicians and discuss more about how you wish to configure the product based on the business requirement you have. You can comment in the chat section for that as well. All right, so that's it. We have come to the end of the training. Please rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, and 5 is the best. And if you like the training program, please use the hashtag mobile device manager plus or /ManageEngine and spread your love. So we are all connected in the social media platform these days. You can even express your love towards that. And I thank each and everyone for joining the webinar. And we have the next session on 20th October. We will have 2 sessions, one at 6:30 GMT and 11:30 Eastern Time, where we discuss about the modern management aspect on Windows laptop and Mac computers. I thank each and everyone for joining the webinar again. Take care and stay safe.